Mountain Dew League, Xfinity, and ESEA.
Welcome back to the Xfinity Analyst Desk here. We're going to continue, or should I say begin, to break down the first map of the night. My name is Trey Senasaranthus, and these are my friends in Pimp and Vendetta. Now, guys, we saw what was seemingly a pretty landslide showing here between compLexity and OpTic. OpTic having seemingly the experience, the veterancy, and all the key components that they needed in order to fly away over compLexity on Inferno.
I mean, we didn't see anything out of the ordinary. I don't think we saw anything we didn't expect to see either. Great to see OpTic coming off to a good start. This new super lineup, if I may say it, at least in any perspectives. Got these three pretty skilled Danes on the team as well, and everyone did pretty well, to be honest. And again, you know, they dealt pretty well with what compLexity had to come with, and overall, a little bit disappointed that they weren't able to at least pressure OpTic just a little bit more. 16-7, just like that. That was too easy.
Yeah, only one CD round. Obviously, that's not going to do a lot for you. And also considering the fact that the first half, obviously they get 6 rounds. It's not necessarily the worst first half score you can get, but 3 of those rounds were off of the back of the pistol, 2 anti-ecos, and even one of those 3 other rounds were ZZ purchase or CZ buy round, where I would say it's more down to the fact that OpTic kind of, well, they played a bit scared, played too passively, allowed the ZZs and so on to get really up and close, and at that point, obviously, that's where they thrive. So that was like one of the missteps on the side of OpTic. But outside of that, pretty just cookie-cutter play from there. I guess a little bit of wonkiness between config and Stanislaw, how they played Banana a couple of times, but overall, pretty decent first showing from OpTic, and especially Gate as well. We talked about him going into it, kind of a big question mark for most of us, but handled himself well, and obviously Shazam set them off to a good start. And Cajun as well. It's really cool to see Cajun, and it's going to be fun to see how he kind of progresses throughout the season, because obviously in Astralis and Dignitas North, he was kind of the third star or the third string option in many ways. And I think in a lineup like this, him back to rifling as well, he could very well be, you know, not necessarily the main star. You still have config in that team, but definitely be the next man up.
Next man up. Will Cajun be, I don't know. I don't even know where to start with this OpTic lineup. It's one that we would think wouldn't even have allowed compLexity to come into this matchup at all if you look at it on paper. What do you think, Pim?
I mean, the lineup from OpTic compared to the compLexity in terms of skill is just immense, right? We have a config who is arguably a top 15 player in the entire world when he's on form. And going up against compLexity, that should scare the hell out of them. And I think it did as well. OpTic is a team with so much skill on it, right? We have config, we talked about, and we have Cajun, especially that topic is very interesting because, as you said, in Astralis, he was like the 3rd guy in North, he was probably like 3rd or 4th, like most important guy if you look at that. Yeah. Whereas on this lineup, he's supposed to be the 2nd star. Without a doubt, config is the main star of this team, and config, Cajun is supposed to be the 2nd star. Then again, that comes into this whole team, you know, because how is Stanislaw and Shazam thriving with the fact that they have to take a step back and let the Europeans do the job for them. I mean, there's so many unanswered questions with this lineup, and we didn't really get any answers against compLexity. We need to see them against some better opposition, and I hope compLexity will be able just to pressure them a little bit to see how they actually thrive while everything is just now going according to plans.
We talk about seeing some sort of opposition or something that puts them to the test, but we were on Inferno. Obviously, we have another map here in these 2 best of ones. We're going to be going into Train, but do you think the map played into this at all?
I mean, I think just as you know, the general state of Inferno, we don't really see a single team in the world actually being stable on it. By any means, we see constant upsets, or not necessarily upsets, but we see people who had shown good form on a map previously go into it, obviously confident in their map pick, losing it, and obviously, you know, the best of 3 series or what have you spins out of control for them. So I think still it's, even though Inferno's been around for quite some time now again, it's still early days before we've seen like any real consistency or have a team that we can really solidify as a kind of the best Inferno team in the world. And I think that kind of alludes to the fact that, you know, you could say compLexity had a pretty decent shot at this. They've already played it, you know, already in Pro League.
Twice, right? Where they did pretty okay.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. So it's not unknown territory for them by any means. And, you know, if there's definitely potential for upsets versus better teams like OpTic for compLexity there. So them not grabbing the chance, I don't think it's going to go necessarily, or be necessarily easier going into Train.
Well, going into Train, that is our next matchup. We can talk about comfortability over in Inferno, but now we need to focus on Train. We need to focus on which team is going to be able to, dare I say, cultivate the most amount of rounds over the other team. Pimp, take it away.
I mean, Train is one of those few maps out there who allows a double AVP setup. And when you have Shazam and Cajun on your team, then that must be a pretty comfortable place to be in, especially considering the CT side, right? I think that's going to be pretty strong for OpTic Gaming. Config as well, known for being this hyper-aggressive CT player, always causing some menace. So I think compLexity is going to have their hands full if they want to take this map. And I think, without saying too much, it's going to be just as convincing from OpTic this time around. I don't think compLexity has what it takes to challenge these guys at all, not individual, not as a team. So having a hard time seeing how it's going to go in it differently.
Yeah, and kind of to add to the issues that compLexity are going to run into, I'm really excited to see Stanislav playing that inner bomb side again. If you go back to the heyday of OpTic, you know, one of the really big things that he was able to abuse with his opponents was his push timings on that inner bomb side. Even though he's playing it as a solo site defender, just really solid at just finding the right timing to push behind, have that immediate rotation whenever a team would pressure towards yard. And if compLexity aren't able to deal with that, if they're not necessarily, you know, just setting one guy up with a tent above pop or something, waiting for Stanislav, that could be a massive issue.
I want to see them play fast, you know. I want to see them get into the game straight away. If they start on the C side, it has to be a fast T side. Otherwise, I think OpTic is going to get too comfortable just sitting back. And you said, you know, Stanislav is a great inside player. Config is a great aggressive player outside. You need to shut that down straight away. You can't let OpTic feel comfortable, because when you look at the skill, it's just too much for them.
Well, we are just waiting on one of the players, and we'll be able to hop right into Train and choo-choo our way down to 16 Roundville. But it is going to be a little bit of time before we do that. Yeah, you know, I really gave it my all on that one. Holy moly. Let's ask you guys for your predictions and go forward. What do we think?
I mean, I'm still leaning towards OpTic. compLexity didn't really show too much of it on a map I would imagine they're pretty comfortable on in the first go of it. So, yeah, still siding with OpTic here with a pretty comfortable margin.
Nothing tells me that compLexity is going to do anything in this game, to be honest.
There's absolutely
more
nothing
straightforward than my approach, but yeah.
No, I don't think. You know, OpTic are just two great individuals. As said, you know, the only chance is by playing fast and catching them off guard. And if they don't do that, it should be over.
Should be over. So you're saying that not even PTR, with all the heart and soul on the entire planet, can pick up an AWP and put a stop here to this OpTic line?
That'd be a no.
Just a straight up.
Yeah.
All right, well, back to you at the desk. Oh, wait, that's me. And we can't go anywhere in particular. OpTic Gaming and compLexity, not a very good showing there from compLexity in the first map of Inferno, but perhaps in the second map here on Train, they can somehow link all the cars together and slowly but surely move down the tracks to the end of the game. And I'm going to go ahead and bring in our commentators now, because I know they want to jump in on the fun. I know they want to be a part of this action, and we don't want to deny that of them. And with that being said, Jason, Moses O'Toole, and it's just Harry.
You're really pushing these train jokes.
We are going to Train, Jason.
Yeah,
It's only
16 Roundville.
Gotta go. See you later, man.
Yeah, so it will be that second map. And I like what Pimp said. It's to get fast if you're compLexity. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen. We know FNS likes to play defaults.
Yeah, I know he's a big fan of taking it very, very slowly, right? Which, you know, I mean, gives us lots of time to talk about it. But I hope that they can bring some new exciting stuff into the mix.
Well, we could do that. I mean, we do have a little bit of time. I wasn't going to let you guys just run away
Oh,
with
I
it.
thought it was the old-fashioned handoff.
The old-fashioned handoff, Jason. Brought to you in part by thegameflip.com, which was a pre-show, and of course Xfinity for making all this possible. Guys, do you feel this one's going to be any different of a showing?
Nope. I don't at all. Just echo, you know, Pimp's sentiments.
Yeah.
No, well, I think if you look at Inferno as well, compLexity got like a lot of things they couldn't have asked. Like they loved, like obviously winning that CZ and Deagle round. Like that was like their big thing back into the game. That's what should have allowed them to get that like closer scoreline into the second half. And then obviously, if you don't get started in that fourth round on the CT side, it's just going to be a very tough half for you. And that went wrong for them, and they couldn't really capitalize on the winning the 4-spy round.
Well, I think we can kind of zoom out a little bit. You know, most people want to enhance. Most people want to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And what we're going to do is we're going to backtrack all the way to the point where do we think either of these lineups, open discussion, anyone can answer first. I will select who answers first. All right. Open discussion, can either of these teams do damage internationally? Start with Harry.
I think OpTic could. You know, I do really like him. I mean, I always kind of hate jumping on the Dane train whenever we're on the desk with Pimp, just because.
The Dane train, that was nice.
Yeah, just because it's like, if he had a charity, it would just be called like Danes for Danes, because he's always backing them. Like, you know, there's no stopping him. If there's a Danish guy on the team, he'll be there.
Actually, I think Danes for Danes was the Craigslist thing that he was on before we came to the segment. But Jason, where do you see this one landing? Too much? Not enough?
I liked it. I think OpTic with time could probably do some damage internationally. I mean, obviously, they have the players to do it. And they have players with a history of being able to do it. So, yeah. I mean, I don't really see complexity being able to do it. They're too, as I mentioned, like the fact that they just like to do defaults their entire T side, they're too like one-dimensional in that sense on their offense. And then skill-wise, when you get to the international competitions and you're playing against the Cloud9s, Liquids, even just within your own region, and then you're playing, against the SKs and then the other top European teams, all of whom are eluding me at the moment, G2. They're just not skilled enough to stop some of those attacks.
Just not. They don't have the tools necessary.
They don't have what's needed.
They don't have what's needed. They might get the short end of the stick when it comes to that. Let's go ahead and we'll let you finish last since we know you got something you're brewing up over there. Go ahead, Halvor. What do you think? Are either of these teams going to be international contenders at any point in time?
compLexity, no. Just straight up. OpTic, I think they're going to be that annoying team that you don't really want to face in terms of like your deciding group stage game kind of deal, or potentially in your first quarterfinal matchup, that kind of a deal. I think they're going to have issues winning best of threes versus the better teams in or from Europe, but they could definitely create some upsets and best of ones and that kind of stuff, because they do have players of very high caliber in terms of like high peaks, but obviously consistency could always be a bit of an issue with them.
Well, I think we have to now move forward because I don't believe that Pimp had anything to say on his behalf.
Nothing new.
Speechless.
It's just gonna be
the normal.
We've got to give
bants.
Rambo time.
We do. I think that's another interesting part of this complexity lineup is the addition of Rambo. Can he add something in the CSGO era to this team? We saw him go to MVP. Obviously, I don't think you could say we expected too much out of MVP regardless of him there or not. But now that he's moved on to complexity, will he have the tools necessary? Take it away, Pimp.
You give me that question?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, no, I don't think so.
Still the same answer.
Yeah, it's the same short answer. No, I don't think so. Like, he's probably going to help them in some small areas and probably can help FNS, maybe getting a little bit less one-dimensional, as Moses is saying. But overall, it's not going to be a team that's going to compete internationally at all. Where if we look towards OpTic, I don't think they're going to be that good either. I still want to see them get pressured because these are players, when at least I know them pretty well and you guys know them too, their attitudes, and the way they behave in and around the scene, it's been kind of controversial, I'd say, just a little bit. And them together on a team, being pressured on big stages and stuff like that, I want to see that before I count them in anywhere. It is a team just due to the skill that can be a top 15 team in the world. And as you said, like, they're going to be annoying to play against because when you have Config on fire, when you have Cajun on fire, it's always tough to play Counter-Strike. But in terms of consistently making deep runs into tournaments, I don't think so. They don't have the personalities for it. And I don't think the team composition is meshed well together enough. This is going to be one of those teams that need a change or two before they get into the very top of the scene.
Yeah, that's fair. I like that. That's what I said about the last OpTic lineup, and then they won a championship, so...
Only one, though. So
Good luck.
But you said it, so I didn't.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's that as well. I know, onto the Rambo thing, because I think that's kind of cool. The one thing, the question always is, like, is it worth having a coach that's not from CSGO? And I think with someone like Rambo and within the North American scene, it is, because I think that's the majority of what North American teams have been missing throughout the entirety of CSGO is like the fundamental knowledge of how to play the game properly and how to like work together and how to train properly. And that's something Rambo did throughout his whole career, whether it was with complexity as a player in the later days, whether it was with Team 3D. Yep. He's been through. He's done the progression to go from like nobody into a champion. So he knows what it takes to get to the top, and he knows what it takes to stay at the top. So that's the kind of knowledge that he can pass on that I think is very unique to coaches in North America, especially.
Yeah, looking at his resume and his tenure is certainly one of a kind. But we were to talk about train a little bit between complexity and OpTic, neither of which of these teams were in Katowice. But we do have some highlights from there. So let's go ahead and take a look at the top 5 plays.
He almost spotted that climb off the top of the ticket booth. That could have been dangerous. Instead, now he's caught. Second player peeks into the connector and a nice bait on the site from Order. But Nico, 2 shots and 2 kills. Oh, Nico! He finds all 3 on the A site.
We're going to go ahead and take down the Vice. And here comes a spray off a catwalk. Clay picking up 1-2. Can he grab the 3rd and potentially win this round for Astralis? I don't know. He's going to have to run and stop the defuse. He does it! Ladies and gentlemen, Glaive has found success.
That's insane.
Make that one. Skadoodle, your turn. You're up. And he's already got the first. He goes. Oh, it's Nico in the smoke as well. He doesn't know it, but he goes back out. He's got this low. Oh, my God. How close is that? How fast is Skadoodle? And his turn to stand up. 3 in a row in a 1 versus 2. Posted with the waiting. Hoping someone gets in vision. Starts off well. Fnatic with the first kill. And that's going to encourage the B take. They're certainly ready for it. Rain, good angle. Flush, a good trade. Olaf, speed to get inside of the side. AWP, it actually hit. It connected on Guardian, got confused because Olaf came to the top of the ladder, and that's going to leave Olaf up close as well to the bomb, as Golden and Flusha have to be the two to pull this back, to force this the distance. Bomb already planted, thankfully, and Flusha with one, but he's got a lot more to go. In fact, he needs another ace just to keep Fnatic alive. And FaZe, trials and turbulations in finals, and they certainly showed through again. They might finally redeem from last year and get their first IEM championship. It only takes one kill. Flusha, he's not going to allow that easily. Gets it down to just Guardian, 17 HP. And that gives Flusha the upper hand as well. Flash out. He's faced off of it, forced off the angle, and Flusha's got us going the distance as he hits the shot, and we tie things up. The man who I thought was going to go for the contact play is suddenly the last alive.
Well, this is a done round. Guardian now is the question as to whether he'll save the AWP. Good flashbang. Could get a couple more out of this one. And Fnatic are starting to crumble. What's going on? One player has found 3 kills. Guardian looking to ace this one out. This could be one of the best rounds of the entire tournament so far. 4 kills picked up. It's down to Crimped. This was a 5 versus 1 map. And he's got time as well.
We'll wait for this to go to time. Incendiary could be a factor because if he puts it in front of Guardian, how does he work back in? It's gone toward the dumpster. That means Guardian knows exactly where to look. Oh! And he's got all 5.
There he is. The world's best sniper comes to life in the 5 versus 1.
What an absolute banger Katowice was. Intel Extreme Masters never disappoints, and you couldn't have expected Katowice to be any different. I had a blast over there, guys.
I can imagine. I mean, got some pretty memorable moments there, pretty much from the start of the playoffs until the end, really. I mean, we even have to consider the fact that in that top 5, there's one Flusha clip that wasn't even included. That was also just mind-blowing.
Would you like to share with the class, Halvor?
I mean, the 2v5, obviously, OT, at that point, getting a second ace in, 5 rounds or something ridiculous like that on a deciding map of a grand finals. Not too shabby.
Not too shabby. What's your take on Katowice, Pimp? I know you sat at home and you watched all weekend, so tell us what your favorite
I was actually doing it for Danish national television. I was commentating for the first time in my career, so that was pretty fun. I watched all the game, yeah. And yeah, we could fire those guys. Don't need them. Anyway, it was a fun tournament, as you said. Like Flush at that final, that's going down to the storybooks.
Yeah.
Doing 2 aces in a final under that big pressure with a Fnatic lineup, with Golden and Lekro, 2 guys who's never been on a big stage like that. Ending up winning against FaZe, who once again, like dare we say, choking in the final. There's so many highlights from that tournament, and especially the final was just outstanding.
I saw a thread today that labeled them the kind of final boss, which I think is a very interesting take on the situation or the placings that they found themselves in. That they are essentially, hey, we're at the very end of the road here. Now you got to beat FaZe, and it has happened in more
often than not
prestigious situations. But ultimately, that's exactly what happened here.
Yeah, definitely the case. I was just blown away by the kind of a difference we saw from Fnatic in Kiev the week before, and then obviously coming into Katowice, because that was just 2 different teams completely. You couldn't be further apart in terms of how they performed. Going from losing I think it was best of 3 versus Tai Lu, to then obviously beating FaZe in a best of 5. That doesn't really make sense on any level.
Just like the approach Fnatic had, as far as I saw, they did an interview where they said they just went home from Starlight and then didn't practice at all. They just played a lot individually to get ready for IEM Katowice. And it's fun to see these days when there's so many tournaments going on at the same place, literally teams flying straight from Starlight to IEM Katowice. The teams that actually goes to go home and just play Counter-Strike, instead of sitting at a hotel room and do nothing, those are actually the ones coming in and performing as well. All the playoff teams from Starlight also did pretty well at IEM Katowice, at least showed up. So it just tells me that it's, with this hectic tournament schedule, you just got to put in the hours. It's the small details, and if you don't put in the hours, you're just going to scramble out and don't do anything anywhere.
The most memorable part about everything he just said was when he looked at me with conviction and said, "You have to try or you will fail." That's essentially, I'm just translating for everyone at home. And with that, I know Pimp has something to say, but it is about that time to bring in our friends in Jason and Harry once more, who will be directing the train going forward.
You say friends?
To some of us.
See, I thought the most memorable thing he said for you, Trace, would have been, "It's all about the little things."
Gotta go.
Train is live. Well, no, it's not. It's warm-up. It's a warm-up segment. But compLexity and OpTic, we are going to get started on that second map in the series. As you can see, there were some technical issues causing the delay, but we're all good now. all on the server and all ready to go. And obviously not a whole lot of hope given to the complexity side for this second map. After what we saw on Inferno, I don't think it left anyone too impressed.
No, and it's kind of sad to see because, in my opinion, they've been making like some pretty big strides as of late to how they have been switching things up. Like the improvement I've seen, at least whenever I've watched them, between the first week of Pro League and then the things they've participated in since, they have looked better. But are they cut out to beat OpTic? That's the question. This new look OpTic roster that is now primarily Danish is a pretty terrifying beast. I think Train's going to lend itself their way that much more just because of the AWPing presence that we have on this roster.
Oh yeah, Shazam, Cajun as a secondary operator, he's been a primary in the past. I mean, that's a huge thing, and obviously config is no slouch to the weapon either. So a lot of opportunities, a lot of chances, a lot of different variations OpTic can throw it at you. There is going to be a very quick flank down ladder. If there's not a lot of success here early on, are they going to be where this is coming in? And Gade's already watching this. Great awareness from him. He spotted out at least 2 players. Now they're lured into the crossfire. Bomb hasn't even made it to the site. And we're going to get a weird screen, but as we come back, we find that Android has pretty much killed everyone. There's one more player in ladder room. Android again with 4 kills. Going to go for the ace. Cajun not aware that Ye was there, which is a bummer because he was at 11 HP. That would have been an easy kill.
First round, they're going to go the way of complexity. That's a good start for these guys. I want to try and get the rounds flowing early on, build the confidence up, and I think it was Pimp who said he wanted them to play a bit faster here, kind of bring the fight to OpTic, and they definitely did that in that round with the quick flank in through pop.
Yeah, the inner push, especially because if OpTic had gone there, I mean, they would have been startled by that one as well. So yeah, good calls all around for the complexity side there. And we'll see if they can build upon it. They did win the first pistol of the first map, and config, a great headshot on a PTR, putting him on notice. Ye's been tagged down as well, but there's Android to build on his pistol round success. Shuts down config in mid, but it's Shazam now with the scout. A couple very low tagged players outside. Complexity has to be careful.
Yeah, this scout has done so much damage already. It's painted up 2 players down low. It's found PTR, and now it's just battening down the hatches into connector. Android's going to go down as well. This scout is worth its weight in gold, Jason. FNS and Def left alive, and they are praying they don't run into this scout that's already done so much. Stan is going to go down inside of the site. 2-1-2 ensues. The bomb planted for Shazam. Def going to try and take the fight, and FNS looking for the bomb. Does manage to spot it out. Shazam's gone down now. It's Cajun B finds one with the deagle. Almost the second. Def gets painted down low. It will be a 4K from him. It's complexity lock in that second round. He makes a lot of money, but they do lose everyone else on the team. So kind of mixed feelings about that one.
Oh, I think Cajun was hoping that Def had been tagged or had been brought down, to just a little bit lower HP. Gets him to 17. I think if he knows that he was at full health, he might have just played the bomb a little bit more. But that is a huge loss in that round for complexity. 4 players going down. The bomb plant goes over to OpTic. They could actually buy up into this. And we're going to get a quick technical timeout as some of those issues resurfacing. But overall, a very nice second round from OpTic, causing damage, wreaking havoc, and some of that skill shining through.
Yeah, pretty off-the-rails performance there with the scout. Overall.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Don't too often see the scout do that much damage. We've seen it a couple times, and obviously there's some high-profile scouters out there in the world, but did a phenomenal job here in config, and then Shazam picking it up.
Yeah, and I always think like it's such a good kind of almost like a support gun in a way, right? Like you're doing so much damage even if you don't find the kill. Like you land one shot, you've tagged someone down to 20 HP, let's say, and it's it's such a cheap gun to actually buy up as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's once you get the deagles out as well, and even the CZs to a certain degree, like one scout tag is pretty crazy. It like turns those, like even the deagle is like a little mini pocket scout that you can have in pistol form. And then obviously you never want to be softened up and have to face a CZ in any kind of a situation. So it is one of those weapons that helps apply a lot of pressure and a lot of danger in the rounds. We'll see. OpTic decides to buy up, which isn't too surprising based off 4 kills and a bomb plant in the last round. They do have 2 Galils and a deagle, and PTR has an AWP. That's got to be worrying. It is towards the inner bomb site. Stanislav's going to fall back, but great pressure out team mid. Molotov's forcing them away. Rotation is in the off, still cannot get involved. It's the farthest away weapon. And Android, so many angles, and he's not aware of all of them. Great kills coming out for OpTic, and very quickly this round feels over. FNS and PTR would have to do something so impressive.
Yeah, PTR, he's already gone ahead and got one, but that should be it for him. Now, Gade is here, and he's on 1 HP. So this is a free kill the way of FNS. He just has to check the corner. And it's a 2 versus 3, and then we should see them go for this. Cajun B missed shots. Gade's going to be able to trade, and now it all falls onto PTR, 1v3, and he's just going to go ahead and elect to save. Plays it safe. Gade's now hunting him down. Other player's going to start to aggress towards him. Shazam's in the backline. He wants this all. PTR's getting just chipped down low. Players coming in from all sides. There should be no way he survives this, and he is going to fall right at the end. So OpTic, on the back of that buy, they do manage to find themselves around, and quite critically now, they've actually reset the economy of compLexity.
That's huge. Great build-up from OpTic. Great buy into that round as well, and a lot of that pressure applied towards ladder room. Stanislav was in there, and he realizes they haven't actually gotten in towards ladder room, which allows OpTic to really pinch that attack from team mid and find a couple easy kills. That opens up that entire train yard, and compLexity not able to hold them back with the Molotovs, with the nades whatsoever, and even PTR deciding to save a bit too late with that AWP. So they invest into the following round, this 4th round of the half, trying to return the favor. They have far less to play with, but they do have one of those scouts. Great pop flash. Cajun, he should not be getting out alive, but they don't push with it. Oddly enough, I'm not quite sure why they decided to do that. I didn't think it blinded them. But that allows Cajun to live and for Shazam to get in a position to bail him out. So 3 kills for OpTic in this. And now a 2-on-5.
FNS going to go down at the end. It does all fall onto Ye. And he is very far away. Not much he can do to keep OpTic here at base. You imagine... Oh, that was...
You gonna go eat some hay, live by the bay?
I don't know.
Happy Gilmore skit we're doing here? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, no, that was good. I'll take it. But yeah, no, you imagine he's just going to look to try and do some damage. Maybe find a gun and then look to exit with it. Shazam does actually reside just down here towards main. So...
I can't believe you just managed to rhyme three different ways without even realizing it was coming.
Well, you know, what can I say? I have to compensate for everything in some way.
Not too shabby. Yay. Gonna get found here at the end and dropped with a quick headshot from Cajun B. So back to peanuts for the compLexity economy. PTR will have another AWP in the next round that they decide to buy. He's got plenty of money for it, and they're gonna need it. Shazam's got his. 4 kills for Shazam, 5 for Cajun. It's important to know, we didn't touch on it too much in the last map. It was Cajun who kind of led the way for the OpTic side of things. He was on top of the scoreboard, which is cool to see. Former Astralis player. Nade going to be coming out from Gade. That's great. Double nade, actually, combined with Stanislav. And they land 2 perfectly onto the bomb train, right between the ends of it. Take down Ye.
Def going to go down over here towards B as well. So it's a good start for OpTic. 2nd kill of the round for Stan. As those nades early on, it did wreak some havoc. Rotations have come on through from PTR and FNS. They're going to wait inside of B, but with only a P2000 USP between them. Not hoping for too much to get done here. OpTic just looking to try and keep things clean. Continue building up this money. Android going to start to rotate around as well. So they will be walking into a stack. FNS not going to do any damage worth writing home about. PTR falls as well. FNS going to go ahead and get rid of Stan, so he has to be able to get himself 1. But that should be it. Almost deals the config, but just 1 for him and his lucky USP. As OpTic lock themselves in a 3rd round. Now the buy comes in, though.
Yeah, this is the exciting stuff. This is the exciting round we get to see. The AWP on PTR. The M4s to surround it. The tough part is we're not going to see any kits, and they are very beat up in terms of their nades. Meanwhile, OpTic has everything they could possibly want. Full buys on all 5 members. The entire playbook, any execute they want is available to them. And it looks like they don't necessarily even want to do that. Going to head towards the inner bomb site very early on. Nades down in the ladder room, forcing Ye back. But it is Hall's control. for OpTic very early on, and no one's actually cheated over to help Def. He's only got one Molotov. Perhaps they're relying on Ye to have a fast flank if that comes in, but the op of PTR still firmly positioned outside.
And this is a lot of pressure for Def. I know that he's in the site. Rotation's going to come through. PTR's the first man on the scene, but Def's already gone down, and now PTR trying to find something. Android does land some damage in through the smoke. Rotation's come through from Ye. He does manage to drop Cajun. PTR's now gotten rid of Gate. And it will be 3 versus 4 in the retake. A very lengthy flank coming through from FNS, though. PTR spotting another man. Oh, didn't he? Config, he's right there. Oh, okay, that was a bit of a sloppy engagement. Now it is just Shazam 1v4, not meant to be, as Ye finishes things off. The quick flank in from Ye actually does pan out. I had my doubts. I had my reservations as to whether or not that would work, but it did.
The flank, and he was already up. I think that's a round that we're going to see like in a month or maybe a little bit longer. OpTic, maybe not even a month, but OpTic will have a round like that way more firmly secured. They get the opening kill towards the inner bomb site, and from there it felt like they were all kind of confused on the theoretical side of where to position themselves because they only got the one kill. The rest of compLexity played it so passively. They know how to manage those pushes from the T side when that inner bomb site gets lost. They were just able to pick off OpTic running forward into their crosshairs. I think in the future we'll see OpTic players play that much more patiently together and really wait for the retake. Scary part, double op setup now brought out for the compLexity side. PTR's got one, FNS has the other. They're both outside. PTR at the bomb train, FNS now on the green train, and all the fire on the ground is preventing OpTic from getting out. There's a good trade with those flames, and Santa's on the pre-fire doesn't land, but they're still chipping away at this defense and getting ever closer. The bomb is dropped in the open, and FNS has been lost in the smoke. Finds Shazam, great shot, and another good trade.
PTR to walk out, does go down now. It's all on Def. Knows that Gade's nearby. He's turned it into a one-on-one. Starts to emerge, but Cajun B smites him down. And OpTic, they are going to go to take themselves another round. Once again, it comes down to the wire. But that is the reset coming in for compLexity. You imagine we might just see a partial buy here. A couple of players can invest.
Yeah, if you have the money, right? It's going to be some armor. This is a good opening kill from Config as he's dying. Couple different Molotovs burning him, but there was so much bank built up on OpTic on this T side. They've got a lot of money. It's going to take multiple round wins in a row, and FNS not even aware they're already outside main. Def gets one, immediately traded. The bomb is picked up as well, and onto the bomb site we go. Nothing to slow them down. Another flank coming in for Ye and PTR, but it's going to get in far too late to stop the plant.
Bomb has been planted.
I think they just want to find some guns on the exit.
Yeah, personally, I'm a big fan of how OpTic play that round. It's very fast, very aggressive. Gives compLexity no time to work their way into positions. We've seen so many teams opt to take these rounds where it feels like they maybe play it too safe. And, you know, you give compLexity plenty of time to take control elsewhere, kind of set up with the limited firepower that they have. This round, though, OpTic do the polar opposite of that. And they just storm into the A-bomb site, use all the utility they have to get them out into the open, find the openers as well, and those compLexity players that were trying to cross into Pop Dog early on. And they lock in a fifth round, and it's clean as well.
It is very clean. There wasn't too much opposition, to be fair. I think there was just like one flashbang and then all pistols. This will be much more staunch defense. PTR with the op once again. We'll see if they can hold him back. Still light on utility, still light on kits. This time the op is towards the inner bomb site. Some spam coming out towards mid. And OpTic is going to switch up the point of the attack. It's mostly come from ladder room and T main. Now we're seeing a bunch of players out towards Ivy. Part of the map that when there is a full buy for the CT side is largely smoked and Molotov to the majority of the round, or as much as possible. compLexity obviously not going to be able to manage to do that. And here comes initial utility to allow OpTic to gain some ground.
Yeah, the big thing here is that Ye and FNS, the two players watching it, don't have anything such as the smoke. They have two flashbangs between them. Now Andrew's going to pick up Gay. They start to push through this smoke. Gay has his work cut out for him, but that's the bomb dropped out in the open. No trade just yet, and Ye, he's not going to let it come through. Cajun B waits in the smoke. FNS going to go slipping on by him, does manage to pick it up, and now it is just Shazam. 1 versus 5. And there should be no way he finds any success there. Ye's going to shut him down. A 3K, the hat trick. compLexity, they managed to scoop together a 4th round.
Yeah, he really needed to be traded immediately. I'm not quite sure. OpTic a little disjointed on that hit. Config not able to get the first trade once Stanislaw goes down, but you felt that would have been much more successful leading up to the hit. Great round from Ye. Triple kill. Some immediate kills as well. That first bullet accuracy was quite nice that round. 5-4. And I don't even think it can be a reset if OpTic were to win this one. I think enough players survive. Here's some aggression from PTR. Gets one. They're going to try and punish it, but the flashbang is in. Config finds the kill. He's down to 7 HP, but they're going to be happy with that.
Yeah, going to be able to pick up Cajun B in the meantime. Re-extends that man advantage back in favor of compLexity once again. Now turn his attention back towards Ivy. Stanislaw does reside on the other side of that smoke. And he's just locked in a standoff with Ye.
Tough party is it feels like he's kind of in a position this round where he has to be a lurker for his team. Except for the fact that Config has 7 HP, so he can't really initiate action. So they use utility to pull attention away from Ivy, and that makes it very easy. Ye's caught looking the wrong direction. Now Shazam, a chance for him to chime in as well, and he does onto FNS. Strikes him down. One more player in the ladder room, and he gives up his position. That's a great kill. Oh, the follow-up right as the smoke plumes. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, but Android delivers in a big, big way with a double kill.
Yeah, no, that was fantastic from Android. I'm glad we get to see the replay of it. Doesn't even spot Shazam. 5th round locked in. And finally, we're going to see OpTic with no money left. So it has successfully, compLexity has successfully broken down that economy. It took a couple of rounds, but they've managed to do it. Deagle up for Config over here towards main. Does get held back by the flash and the molly. And interestingly enough, in spite of Android's success, they've swapped him out for FNS. Instead, going to go play a more passive role in connector for that rotation into B.
Oh, that's so awkward. That timing is brutal, and FNS is going to be so frustrated with that. And OpTic's already out team main. I don't know if that's even been spotted, I'll be honest with you. And that timing is unfortunate as well. So a lot of things going against compLexity this round. And the second kill coming out. Android, he's stuck here in the choke point. Can't get out. He's got to play it passively. And PTR still not able to get involved in the action. OpTic have somehow turned this round on its head. 2 M4s recovered as well. And the bomb planted. There are 3 kits. But so many players to find. And it looks like compLexity is just straight up forfeiting the round. That's how quick it can happen.
Yeah, you know, life looks like it's going good, and then suddenly, I don't know where I'm going with this.
That snap wasn't didn't have the effect you wanted.
No, it didn't. You know, I kind of.
You could have gone with the life comes at you fast.
Yeah, it really does, as compLexity have just learned. They're gonna have to save up these 3 weapons. They can get a buy in the next round as a result, which is always good. But it's a round that really OpTic had no business picking up.
Yeah, they absolutely didn't. I mean, obviously that first kill on FNS is so unfortunate for FNS, pulling a nade out and switching and not being able to fire, not being able to recover in time to take that engagement. But the follow-up, 1 dig, and there's the opening. Even after FNS goes down, I mean, compLexity still should be able to kind of recover in that round. It's just OpTic had those trains in that Olaf position, so when they actually decide to go, they're already like, you know, 10 steps ahead of where compLexity is expecting them to be. This is very fast aggression towards the inner bomb site. No one's rotating either. I don't think Def had any idea or thought that that attack would actually be committed at that speed. And unfortunately, it might lose him a second round. Config already very far up, and good return kill from PTR. Cajun's going to find an easy one in team mid. And all of a sudden, this round is over as well. OpTic's going to be up to their 7th, and I think compLexity has to try and save these weapons. But they're so far committed, and Cajun's already on a position to lock them in.
Yeah, Config is going to go down on the hunt. Now they have a very good idea where both of these players are for compLexity. You know, holding on to these is fairly crucial for compLexity. It's the only thing they can actually afford to take with them into this next round. question is, how much further do OpTic want to go pushing? Well,
you hunt this all down. Like you just go relentless with it. FNS watching for this. Here's the peek. Shoulder peek into the flashbang. Some missed shots. Stan's going to commit here, but he does fall. Despite that, it's not the end of the world. They still have got money, and obviously it was worth the risk to take those weapons away. As you said, it's the only thing that compLexity really has to fight for. And if they were to lose it, I don't even know if we'd be seeing this buy come out. And you can see now compLexity, they've had enough of buying M4s and having no nades. They'll go down to the UMPs now just to be able to afford smokes and Molotovs.
Yeah, this time, interesting enough, they actually swapped Def and PTR out inside of B. PTR's going to be holding it with the AWP. Def, in the meantime, on that UMP is down in Pop Dog.
I think it was Def the last time that was in here when Gade tried to... Oh, they're going to do double drop this time. That should be at least a trade, and it is. Android going to follow up. conflic's ready for it, but can't adjust. Great job by Android to maintain control of ladder room. I was going to say it was Def last time who, when Gade just kind of dropped the flash and peeked with it, Def just stared it straight as it blew up and just got the kill blind. Players in ladder room, though, are doing a much better job of just concentrating on getting the one kill on that lower player, and sometimes even being able to turn that into a double. So even that is slowly becoming less and less effective.
Well, now OpTic, they are a man down. They've been shut out of Pop as well. All three players heading over here towards main. Yay, gonna go peeking into it. Wins that duel out against Stan. You know that he's up there. Quick shot out onto Ye. Does shut him down now. It's a 2-on-3. PTR going to go to drop Cajun B, though. And Shazam with his back against the wall. Players surrounding him from all sides. So many angles to keep an eye on. PTR spots him falling back. There's only 20 seconds in the wrap from FNS. I was going to say, could catch him off guard, but Shazam will just have to go ahead and save. It's going to be a 6th round taken back for compLexity. And, not for OpTic. They don't have enough money to buy in this round, regardless, I believe. Oh, no, they're not.
Well, Shazam can drop one, and there's going to be the money coming in right at the end. So Shazam will drop one over to K's or Galil's on the others if need be. Might be missing out on some nades, but I don't think it'll be too bad. So all should be a pretty decent opportunity for OpTic. And I mean, really what seals that round, when the 2 players go down a ladder room for OpTic, the only 3 players they have left are just bottlenecked in towards that team main. And when you have 3 players there and you don't kind of readjust your point of attack, and then you have the CT side controlling ladder room, it becomes impossible. So tough times, and PTR going to push up and get aggressive with the CP. I don't think he heard anything. Here they come. Right out. There's a good trade and a follow-up as well. Once again, they've cracked open this outer bomb site. FNS trying to get into good position, but gives it up. config wins that fight. Another plant. And PTR's got to try and flank, and Def down to just 2 health. Lucky to be alive. This is going to be another round that compLexity can't fight for.
The AWP, there are players coming his way. They heard him get in a position. The wrap's going to be coming in from Stan as well. Wait for the peek. Shazam falls prey to it. PTR doesn't realize he's stuck by. config's going to find it. Just Def left. 2 HP and a dream. Trying to hide over here towards B. OpTic, they're going to be in with an 8th round now. And I've been a big fan of how they've been... Oh,
what a jerk
to manage that.
Yeah, it's his own teammate. Team kill right at the end. Little twitchy trigger finger. So compLexity, 6 rounds, going to go for their 7th on the CT side. And it's going to be a much more busted buy than what we saw previously. And meanwhile, OpTic going to be in a similar situation. No, they're not, actually. Excuse me. Config did buy up the AK-47 right at the end. So Op in 3. And these fast opening to rounds for OpTic have been very effective. Once towards the inner bomb site, I think a couple times towards the outer bomb site. They've been able to gain a lot of control and a lot of progress very quickly. This has been a half. Again, config is leading the way, so we're starting to see him exert his will a bit more. Gade goes down, and we're going to try and trade out for that weapon, but can't properly do it. He does get caught, and now all that's left is OpTic running into this bomb site. Peter's here with a scout. Smoke going to come out. He does have a tag, a follow-up. down, but he's going to get another one with the pistol. Stanislaw caught out in the open, trying to get away. And Shazam with 12 HP has just got to let this flank come to fruition. It's all on Cajun to make something work.
FNS had double back. Keep an eye on it. Cajun B going to go down. And now it's Shazam, 12 HP. To try and win this round out. Def just going to be holding the smoke. Has bloomed. Shazam tries to go by, but PTR going to finish off with a 3K. I had no idea how he's able to get that done. I mean, two of them coming in with a P2K. So much damage done with the scout. That was a big question mark of a round there. But well played from PTR to lock it down over towards B.
Yeah, that was a bit wild. But it looked at the start, the 4 kills on the pistol round made you feel a little bit positive, but then once these hits started to come in, like I said, the aggressive play from OpTic was difficult for compLexity to handle. They did win some rounds when it was slower paced, but OpTic was able to get a lot of things for free by going fast to start things out. And I mean, that's exactly what the desk talked about. That's exactly what the desk wants compLexity to do. Pimp mentioned he wants to see a faster pace out of compLexity. They don't have the skill to go head to head, so you got to throw them off their game. Got to make them feel uncomfortable. Got to try and punish a lack of utility, and we'll see if compLexity can do just that as we're about to get started in the second half.
Yeah, that's something I've, you know, after we've watched compLexity a good bit, and you know, after numbing how FNS has kind of led these previous teams, is that they are a big fan on these. It's just a lot of the time I feel like it ends up holding them back, right? Like they spend so much time waiting around when in reality they haven't actually really bled all too much out of the CT side whenever we do see them on that T side. And you know, I mean, whenever they go for fast plays, it seems to work out quite well for them. Like I'd love to see them just try it a bit more. Like you know, you got to respect the style that FNS tends to go for, but I do think that just kind of mastering the pace and knowing when it's better for this team to play it fast is something they still.
Relatively new as an in-game leader. I think it's one of those things where in his head it's you know, step 1, master the default, master the slow pace, and step 2, add in a couple more wrinkles. Maybe you change that default to a kind of a faster look, and time will tell if they end up being able to do it successfully. 2 players with utility on compLexity, 2 players with utility on OpTic. And they have gotten aggressive. They have already pushed Ivy. They have all the knowledge in the world. Stanislaw watching this upper ramp. There is Config already down here watching lower. Gade and Cajun will be rotating in shortly, as Shazam sees absolutely nothing. And they do have 2 HE grenades, so question is, where do they come? Towards this lower ramp, behind the train. Nothing out just yet. And Config, that's curious. But they're going to start pushing up this choke point. Pete's are down to 16. The follow-up nade doesn't clean him out, so he will get the bomb play.
Here, they're going to go pushing through. Gade's now in a bit of bother, but he does manage to get rid of Android. Shazam's been spotted on this late flank by FNS. Now we know that he's here. He gets dragged down, trying to go up to find him, but now it is just FNS. 1 versus 5. And despite tagging Shazam down so low, he is going to fall. So a nice retake there from OpTic in the blink of an eye. Literally over the course of 2 seconds, they find all the frags in the world.
Yeah, on our headphones, we just see the headshot sounds coming out just by sequence. Cade with 3 kills, really nice enough from him. You're not going to see that a whole lot, by the way. The 5-on-5 plant towards the inner bomb site, and all 5 players for the CT side survive in the retake, and that's going to be tough for compLexity to live with. That'll be something they look over and feel a little bit disgusted about, but for now, they just have to kind of forget about it and move on. 2 flashbangs in FNS, some pistols bought up, not going for the armor, not going for the full investment. That plant, they want to bring the AKs out as soon as possible. That'll come next round.
And once again, they're going to try going for this aggression down here towards Ivy. Config is there, just going to dispatch of Android. There's no one else here. There's PTR, but he's a little bit far away. Keeps Config in his place for the time being. compLexity, they've got a man down. Now with just 2 flashes, 2 P250s, they have to try and make something happen here. I think really the best they could ever hope for in this scenario is a bomb plant, but even then, you look at how OpTic is set up here, and you know, running the gauntlet out towards A with all these long angles and so little to actually work with is, it just kind of seems like a suicide mission. So.
Yeah, I don't even think at this point for compLexity you can even hope for a bomb plant. I guess you'd have to be given a gift, and yeah, this position from config is huge. Shazam's kind of cheating inside. You have Gade close up. He does have an M4, so there's an opportunity if they can somehow use these flashbangs to push Shazam back and get a kill on the Gade, and then you have an M4 to salvage all of a sudden, but I think he should be fine. He's going to mow him down. They all line up, and there's Shazam chiming in for the last. 19 HP on Gade. 10-7 now for OpTic as we're going to get the first buy from compLexity. Here are the AK-47s. There's some players who are going to be light on nades. PTR's got a full kit. Android not bad with smoke flash. FNS doesn't have anything. He invested in some of the flashbangs in the previous round. But this will be a good opportunity because the next round for OpTic, the ops are going to come out. The op will be on Shazam. He's got a FAMAS right now, stand with a UMP, so you have some lighter weaponry to face off against. But again, OpTic going to choose a part of the map to get aggressive on, and it's over here towards Whitehalls. They're already out ladder room, though. Yeah, you're going to push up, and there's FNS with the kill. I think that was right through the smoke, and it's just Shazam to hold this off, and he's not aware of the follow-up angle. Speed reigns supreme, but Stanislaw has got the bomb. They're going to have to slow things down now.
Yeah, he's been allowed to find two in the backline with the UMP. Gade's been boosted up in the meantime. Does get spotted out by Ye, who's actually going to double down in with a second, and now it all falls onto Stan. 1 versus 3. Starts to creep on over here toward connector. Complant going to come on in. There's an M4 there for him to grab. And if he finds it, maybe he's going to go for this, but no, yeah, you're going to go ahead and cement a 4th on the board for that round as he carries compLexity onto their 8th. Players able to come in, as you say, but now the idea of having the AWP out going to be a dicey one.
Yeah, I thought he'd be able to afford it no matter what, but I was incorrect. So the M4s come out for OpTic, and Shazam, he's going to buy 1 kit for his team. Now, they're the ones with a struggle buy. 10-8 in the favor of OpTic, and that's a great round from compLexity. That's exactly what we talked about. Fast pace, and they did it that time, swinging out of ladder room, catching OpTic completely unawares. They were getting aggressive over towards inside, which helped. It meant reinforcements were a very long way away. And even so, it was an OpTic smoke as well that actually landed at the base of the stairs in those Whitehalls. And once that goes down, I think they're a little bit nervous to push through it as well. So it didn't even allow them to get a quick flank going on from that aggression. So a couple unfortunate elements of that event, or that occurred that round. This is good control from Stanislaw. He does have a smoke to use, but at the moment doesn't want it. How ready is Android for this play? He does spot it out. Shoulder peek wins, and he sprays around the corner. Stanislaw was not expecting that level of aggression from him.
Yeah, now they've taken an early man advantage. The aggression from Stan doesn't pan out. Asian B now the man to try and step on up. That's been forced out into the open. He already gets himself one before Android trades. Now config in from the solo position. Doesn't stand the test of time. Shazam's left inside the site. Effectively 1v4 as Gade has left to defend for himself. He's going to go down, and that now leaves it all on Gade. He's over here toward B. Just going to look to try and hold on to the M4 into this next round. compLexity will move on to a 9th, though. And we've been seeing some pretty fast rounds out of them right now, all things considered. Given this is a team that normally likes to leave it down to the clock, like the last 20, 30 seconds before they make their mind up, they have been finding success with these more aggressive pushes. And I think a lot of that as well comes from this more aggressive style, you know, OpTic perhaps lending them a couple of kills early on in the last few rounds.
Yeah, I mean, that round from compLexity, obviously, I think once they kind of made the decision to hit, it was kind of slow paced to start things out, but once they made the decision to attack, it was very fast. I think part of that is that they know the money situation from OpTic can't be that great. And I think also what we're going to see on the CT side, you know, we talked a lot about how OpTic can outskill compLexity in a lot of different ways, but Train is also a map that's very difficult to handle for a new team. It can be very confusing, and I think at the moment, in that previous round at least, I saw some elements of OpTic, the players defending that outer bomb site not being able to find ways to kind of work together to hold that back. We'll see if that trend continues. An inner rush now for compLexity, and no one is here. So goal number 1 for OpTic is to keep the M4 on Gade. You just kind of pretty much play bodyguard for him and make sure you can bring that rifle into the next round. And oddly enough, nobody is with him whatsoever.
Yeah, I was going to say that tilts
As
you.
I talk about that, no one is there.
But, you know, That's what you want to see. He's currently down to connector all on his lonesome, while the rest of his I don't know, entourage have gone pushing on in. They've actually tagged Ye down low, hoping to try and maybe walk away with an AK here. Oh, Gade, gotta be able to find depth. The 3 USP players all fall, and now Gade back against the wall, has to try and form a hasty retreat. More players coming his way. Gade, don't go any further forward. He's gonna go walking in. Ye spied him, and yeah, he doesn't take that fight. I kind of got a bit worried there towards the end. It's gonna go 10-10, all tied up, and now the buy comes in for OpTic.
And they've got a problem on their hands as well. Now Ye is built up to 9,300, FNS at 7,000, same with Android. And you all of a sudden have the 2 guys that we said were kind of the important players in this complexity team, Ye and Android. They're the ones leading the way. Timing on the spam isn't going to hit. No op for OpTic to counter with. They'll have to find another way to dispatch of PTR. Stanislaw moving up behind this first train. Gotta be careful how far he peeks. Cajun as well onto the bomb train. And this round is much more subdued, much slower for the complexity side, and config drops some utility in Ivy just as complexity's rings out. 3 players there for the attack. That'll be config as the primary defender.
Yeah, they're gonna go to smoke it off, so config will be rendered useless, at least for the time being. Leaves the pressure instead over here towards Stannis. Config hears him going through. Stannis to double back round. Able to find the first. Cajun B does get rid of Def as well. The trade gonna come through. FNS, not normally the man who we see go for the big plays on the entry, but he's dropped 2. PTR gonna be able to get rid of config, and it is just the 2 B players left, Shazam and Gade. Task, we're trying to retake the site. They hear the bomb go down. Gade goes running in. He's been allowed to sneak on by. Does manage to find the first. So now we're into a 2-on-2. He's forced FNS off the angle at E-Box as well. Keeps going forward. Shazam gotta have his work cut out for him. FNS gotta go down to Gade. A nice quick flick. Leaves it all on PTR. 1 versus 2. Has the bomb on his sights. Lands that shot onto Shazam. And now it's the 1v1. Back against the wall. Gade's gonna find him. And there isn't enough time left for the defuse. OpTic, they managed to scrape together an 11th round, but they lose everyone in the process. And as we saw, money for complexity was not a problem.
No, it wasn't, and that's the thing. If you're going to lose a round as complexity, you're going to be fine with that one, all things considered. Gade somehow has plenty of money. He did save that M4, I think, 2 rounds in a row, so that'll help things out. Drops the op over to Shazam. He's got an M4 himself. Fama's going to be on config and Cajun, so that's not bad. That's, you know, for the kind of situation they're in, that's pretty good, but you're exactly right. The money on complexity was just so strong. Another full buy coming out of them, so some advantages here and there. We'll see. That was one of those slow-paced rounds. We'll see if they pick it up here. Some utility exchange towards the inner bomb site. Gade is there. Head-to-head with Ye. Config has a little bit more to play with this time towards Ivy, so he can delay things a bit longer.
He's gone through. He's gone off the beaten track. He throws down the incendiary as well to keep complexity away for the time being. Stan throws one in from the off angle, so he's got their attention. They're going to try and go for the bait and switch here.
He's going to pop flash for config. Where's the timing? The Molotov just goes. There's the peak. That's great. That's a nice kill, but now config is stuck in smoke. It's going to be tough for him to get out. He throws a pop flash of his own, and now he escapes. That's really well done from OpTic. A little bit of ninja vanish there towards Ivy. And now Android going to be left alone as a lurker. Complexity spent a lot of time in utility setting up that play. It doesn't come to fruition, but thank God Ye is here. He's having a phenomenal gain. Another entry out ladder room instead. He's trying to get in a position before this swing wide, but they spot him out. Good edge shot from FNS. And config is brought down low. Shazam needs to be involved, needs to have success this round. But again, it's going to be config getting aggressive and cannot line it up. And meanwhile, this lurk, this flank is going to yield results. Shazam goes down for free. And Gade is left in a 1 versus 3. Not a whole lot for him to do. There's a good opening kill. Doesn't take any damage, but it doesn't matter against the AWP. All tied up in an economic reset for OpTic. A really harsh one as well.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get worse than that. And they're going to fall by with it. Gade even going as far to invest in the M4. I'm curious to see what your thoughts are on that. I mean, maybe he could have kept some extra money to drop the AWP over to Shazam, although we haven't really seen him produce too many results with it right now on the CT side.
Yeah, he's kind of struggled to be involved. I think it's just one of those desperate situations where OpTic, you know, they know they're going to have players who have to save twice, so why not go for it, Gade? This is his chance. Here's the M4, first kill, but the MAC-10 trades quickly, and PTR is lined up to make sure they cannot get through this choke point. Now it seems pretty much all over in this round for OpTic. Nades are out. They're risking a lot here. MAC-10, Def over the top, can't spot anything, and he spots nothing down below as well, but it's just a matter of time before he gets a couple kills.
The timing, just every time he looks away, OpTic, you just have a bit of a rummage. Def finally goes pouncing in, does get rid of Stan. Shazam, oh, missed shots. Got to get pinched onto by Yates. Just config looking to try and hold on to the Deagle and Armor into the next round. This is all he's going to have to work with. The rest of the team will just have to eco.
And this is it. This is some of the win conditions for compLexity. They are being fast-paced, and they're also taking advantage of a low economy for OpTic, who's never been able to really build anything up and build a good defense in this half. So a lot of things going the way of compLexity this time around, and they still have plenty of money behind these purchases. You can see here this this purchase from OpTic isn't great. They're going to have to double save no matter what, so this time sitting things out. Some nades used towards team mid, but again, it's just going to be an rush for compLexity, and this fast pace once again is going to get them around. Peter perched up, but there's nobody here for OpTic.
I mean, compLexity is just kind of reading them to a T right now. It feels like every time that we've seen them go towards this B bomb site, there has been no one there for OpTic. And it's a pretty safe bet to head into it when they've only got these pistols. You know it's just going to be vanilla pistols for the most part, apart from config. I mean, may as well just take the fights inside the B. And yeah, this is just a chance for compLexity to keep building up the money, keep building up the momentum here on their T side. As you say, all the win conditions they kind of needed are coming into fruition right now for OpTic. This is a real test of the resilience of this team early on. You know, can they forge a comeback now? Because at the end of the first half, it was looking like they had things quite firmly under wraps. It's since moving on to the CT side that we've seen the struggles and the cracks in, you know, how little time this roster's had together really start to emerge.
Yes, I mean, that's one of the things that new lineups have to learn, is being able to like win games when you aren't playing from the lead, when you do have to come back a little bit, and when you do get tested. Shazam again is going to have the AWP. Gade is at 21 and 14. That's very nice. He's matching up with Ye, who's 21 and 16. He's had a solid performance here. Stan's going to control ladder room for the moment. Config again out towards Ivy. He's going to have to use that smoke pretty early on in this round, I think, as they start to apply pressure. The real question is Shazam. He's on that high train outside. Green train with that AWP, and they need him to find kills, whether it's an opening pick or something during the hit. We need to be saying his name at some point.
Yeah, I mean, usually he's someone who can have these very explosive rounds, and right now we just haven't seen many of them come out of him.
There's one tough part for compLexity, though, is Ye is the one above ladder looking down, and if he wants to take it over, if he ever has to, he doesn't have any flashbangs. So again, about a minute spent across the map out towards Ivy, and everyone evacuates. They don't gain anything. Shazam's going to have a chance, misses the shot. 2 players inside, and Stan can be on a very quick flank from ladder room. 38 seconds left. When they hit this bomb site, it'll be just under 30. There's not a whole lot of time for mistakes at that point. Look at everyone starting to cheat over inside. Shazam even leaning. There's no presence anywhere on the map. This has taken a very long time. This should be an OpTic round. There's a great couple of kills coming out. FNS does take out the flanker, but they can't even enter the bomb site, so it doesn't matter whatsoever. Everyone is here for OpTic. They're going to have a chance to come back in this match. Now it's just all about not losing any more players, and they won't.
And I mean, that was a very compLexity style round. You know, very slow paced. And yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just that, as you kind of pointed out, there was a lack of presence anywhere else on the map, right? It was very obvious towards the end there to OpTic what was going on. You know, the ruse, as it were, was very thinly veiled. And we saw all the rotations coming in, you know, just before the push came through. So ultimately, ended up walking into a site with 20 seconds left, and you know, 4 CTs there to defend.
Yeah, and that, I mean, that was the big thing, is that wasn't masked in any kind of effective way when it takes you 30 seconds to rotate to the other side of the map. So very nice job by OpTic realizing what was coming, getting players in the proper position, and now a timeout from Cole. The first one, there's Hughes. It's 13-12. They're holding on to a narrow lead. A win here would be maybe not a disaster for OpTic, but it would really hurt what they would be able to purchase up. And they switch into a double op setup, actually. So they haven't even had the money to bust out this look throughout this half. So OpTic could get surprised here. Both ops outside. This time there won't be a smoke down Ivy from OpTic. They want Shazam to have full vision. That's kind of a giveaway, though. Should be. There's the missed shot. Or did he tag him? 68 HP. That might have been a nade.
Well, they go out and smoke it. They do just concede Ivy. Look at the PTRs there. With the op. Pounding down the hatches. In the meantime, Def, the man who they worked so hard to get across, has since fallen back. They'll be lining up smokes out here towards A. They're going to have to contend with Stan down in Pop. He's going to be the first point of contact, but the Molotovs do force him out. He's going to go back in. And luckily enough for him, Incendiary going to go down over towards main. Delays that push out, buys them some precious time to fall back into the safety of this A bomb site. Now the push comes through from the rest of compLexity, and Shazam, he's been able to get the first. That's the bomb drop down in the open. Stan still on the bomb train. Gonna get rid of one more. Players starting to push towards him. Rotations here. PTR going on a tear. Gets himself a second frag. They have to go for the bomb plot. There's 24 seconds left, so time is working against them. But Android trying to turn things around. Stan's here with the USP, and it falls onto a 1v1. Cage and B holding the angle. Android goes walking into it, and that will be the round going the way of OpTic. But once again, it's incredibly close. Only one man surviving.
Got a bit wild down there down the stretch, didn't it? Great hold onto the bomb train for OpTic, just barely keeping grip of it. But still so much money they have to burn through from compLexity. There's still another buy behind this one for the attack. And again, OpTic still very much down to just one player. They have to reinvest everything. So compLexity at a point in this game where if they win just one round, it's almost like they just straight up win the game just based off what OpTic can purchase. Shazam's going to have that opening kill. Not able to get anything more, but Stan is here with the trade. Now he's going to swing over. A second one to follow up. PTR up top does trade that. He's got to perch into the bomb site with that op, so the defense has to be careful exactly where they peek. Cage and B backing off the fight. They're allowing time for config to flank, and it is going to be beneficial. He gets that kill on a PTR. It's just Android in the 1 versus 3. Going to try and come around, and even if he gets this kill, he's still got so much he's got to do, and he's already been spotted out. So now it's all over. The game is up, even though he knows Cajun is there. Can't really make a whole lot of progress. Indeed, almost gets caught with a nade out in his hands, and peering over the smoke is config with that op. An easy kill for him. 14-13. OpTic grabbing control of the match. It was, what, 13-11 at one point. So it's been 3 rounds in a row for OpTic now, and they're starting to look good.
Yeah, definitely finding their footing a bit more. The double upset are going to be coming back in. compLexity, they've force sport in it to this round, as you would expect. That means, though, they've put everything on the line. If they lose this, they will be force buying till the end of this map. Def, he's already up past the Molotov outside. Config going to be locking down the angle. Doesn't actually have the idea that someone could have crossed. I was a bit worried that could have caught Cajun off guard. He has since fallen back. Def right now in a position no one actually aware that he's here. Cajun B going to get caught out, goes down. In the meantime, yeah, you're going to fall down in Pop. FNS is not in a position to trade. Doesn't want to just want to hop down there afterwards because runs that same risk. Config gets caught across the back. Stan's going to get burnt out. Config goes down now as well. It's Shazam and Gade left to try and lock down this site, and Gade, he is going to fall. It's all eyes on Shazam. He's been fairly quiet this game. He's already got one. He needs 3 more. That's the bomb drop. Definit's going to be there to trade, and compLexity, they carry it forward onto a 14th round.
Ooh, that was a weird round. No, Stanislaw had control of ladder room, and actually compLexity just bypasses that completely. Great job walking down the lane towards Old Hell, out towards Ivy, and just being able to wrap around that bomb site. And now this is what I was talking about. With that 1 win, and at this stage of the game, it hurts. Op on Shazam, 3 pistols and armor, 1 FAMAS on Gade, and still everything for compLexity. This is a product of the very little amount of success that OpTic had throughout the majority of this half, leading into that 3-round streak for OpTic. Even then, OpTic not able to build up any money. So compLexity once again in a great chance to win this game. But they slow it down one more time. The first half of this, they were at a blistering pace, rushing things. Very, very fast-paced. Here, not so much. Another push from Config, and ooh, Android didn't spot that whatsoever. That is just unfortunate timing for him. And that's the only presence on the other side of the map. The only place they have left to go is this B bomb site.
I mean, this round is so important for either side. It's a reset for either one of them. And if you're compLexity, you know, you're coming in this round with everything going your way. You'd feel devastated. They're going to start to make their way, and Gade's been allowed to get 1. There's no trade yet from Def. He's going to go down as well. Gade just destroying them on the push in towards this site. It's all on PTR, and he's very dedicated now. Players at all sides. Shazam going to finish him off, and OpTic, they're back in with a 15th. And for compLexity, that is devastating. They had every advantage they could think of looking into that round. All the utility, all the firepower, and OpTic managed to win it out.
Not just that, but it's a complete role reversal for these two teams. Now it's compLexity who has nothing but pistols. 2 players with utility, but they're going to have 4 CZs and a Deagle against a double op setup, against an AK-47, a UMP on Stanislaw, and the FAMAS on Gade, who seems like he's going to get the most attention this round. Nades used out early towards box halls. He's been perhaps the best performer start to finish in this map for the OpTic side. And there's the double drop down. There's 2 kills for Stanislaw, and that might just end this map. compLexity, if they can't come back in this in a near miraculous situation, they are going to be absolutely gutted they let this one fall.
Well, PTR next player contact down here towards Ivy. He falls as well. And now it is just Def and Android left. Split thinly between either one of these bomb sites. Bomb's going to get spotted, does drop down. Gade finishes him. It's all onto Android, 1v5. And this would be a clutch for the history books. He does manage to get 1. But kind of feel like his journey might end here. He's going to keep pushing forward. Stan takes the fight. Okay, Android, he's not out of this one just yet.
He's out of it. He just doesn't realize it quite yet. Bomb towards the inner site. There's really no chance. He's got to, even if he gets all those kills outside, you can see the third player just straight up back off. There's nothing he could really do here. It is going to be Gade with a long angle, an off angle. So if Android tries to go down this lower ramp, he's not going to clear this corner. And it should be a pretty free kill, and it is. OpTic Gaming come back. They win 16-14. It was 13-11 at one point, and they were reset at 14-14. But still, OpTic comes out on top. That is, that's wild. It's insanity. Crazy scenes here.
Yeah, crazy scenes. And it's only the first game of the day, Jason. There's still 2 more yet to come. It only gets better.
Yes, there are some very cool games coming up later on in the, I guess it'd be evening. For our viewership, it is the evening. Either way, we've got the desk back here as well to talk this one over, talk over that comeback.
Yeah, there's quite the comeback there, and I do have to say that actually went a lot closer than I think either of you said it would. If there was anyone wrong in the room, it's you.
I think we both said 16-14.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're just not paying attention anymore.
It might be the case as well.
Yeah.
Please carry on. Take it away. Tell me why it is that OpTic struggled just a little bit more here on Train rather than they did in the first map.
Well, honestly, you know, you got to give credit to compLexity, especially in that first half, because there were multiple instances where, you know, OpTic managed to force compLexity into a situation where they were on low econ buys, which is extremely difficult to deal with on CT side. But even with limited utility, we saw them actually being able to grab rounds and not necessarily get reset immediately after. They would string that all-important second round as well. So they've been able to constantly put pressure on the OpTic side. We also saw the fact that OpTic didn't necessarily feel too comfortable in their default. Whenever they slowed down the tempo, they didn't necessarily find the openings they were looking for. When they were really quick to start things off, that's really when they started finding openings towards the side and actually forced rotations on the complexity side.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a bit of a mess in total. I said, like, this is like a classic matchup between a team who is much better than the other one, where the less skilled team is actually playing well, where the good team is playing, less good. You'd see that throughout the entire game. As you said, whenever each team picked up the pace, it actually tend to work well, and that's a story to tell, because the CT side on terrain is often pretty rough to play when you're not like meshed together well, and you don't know the setups, you don't know the crossfires, you don't have the team play in order with the flashes. We saw some few plays, especially on the Ivy side, where Stanislav lost config in one of the very important rounds. They had some team play, but it wasn't too good overall the line. So a little bit of a messy game, I'd say, overall, but we found the right winner, and I mean, props to complexity for making it close. Neither did expect that, as Trace said, but congratulations for that, Trace. We're up and out of faces, but we got the prediction right, 2-0, and
that's all that matters in the end.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, and well, another positive really on the side of OpTic. We talked in the pregame how we wanted to see Stanislaw, return to that inner bomb side. He wasn't there, nowhere to be found, but they seem to have found a pretty good replacement in Gade.
Yeah.
Topping the scoreboard, really having two really good showings, honestly, from an individual point of view. It seems like they've kind of found his comfort zone, I guess, early on, which is obviously big for him to get acclimated into Pro League.
Yeah.
Well, OpTic able to find 2 maps tonight in our opening best of ones. I shouldn't call them a series because it's simply 2 best of ones. They're between OpTic and complexity. We will be coming back a little bit of Splice and Energy. So don't you go anywhere. My goodness, if you miss this, Pimp will never forgive you.
Incendiary out.